Hi, Dr. Karuna. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I am doing well. It's so good to see you
You as
again.
well.
So, guys, we had Dr. Karuna Sabnani doing a live with us. I don't know, was it 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, a month
Time
ago?
is all like melted right now.
Completely.
It's like,
But we did, you did an amazing live with my business partner, Satya Twina, and an hour was not enough. There's so much to talk about, and you have so much wisdom to share with all of us. So we just had to have you back. And real quick, for those of you who don't know Dr. Karuna, she is a naturopathic doctor and beauty expert, and she's been seen on Dr. Oz, Allure, Cosmopolitan, that list goes on. And you have so much gorgeous wisdom to share with so many of us, and I would say especially women and mamas too. And today, I know we're going to do something special before we begin, but today we will be talking about beauty. And although that might seem like a superficial topic, that's not at all the kind of beauty that we're talking about today. And you've even talked about beauty as essential medicine, which is so interesting. And before we dig into that, I just want to see if there's anything else that you want to add to the intro. And I also know that you wanted to begin this with a meditation for all of us too.
Well, I just wanted to say I'm really excited to be here, Emily. Thank you for having me, because this topic is so important and left out of the discussion of health and of immunity, right? We're all looking for that container, especially right now, to be low risk. And everyone's looking at all of these things that are external. But as we dive deep today, you'll see that having a container, and we talked about that last time, but today specifically beauty as a container, it protects you. Knowing who you are and who you are not, that is what immunity is. So this is going to be a really interesting twist, and we'll go deep today using beauty, which most women don't even realize is like the core of healthcare. So to start today, I want us to all get in our bodies, and we're going to do a really simple meditation. I want all of us to just put our hands on our hearts and just close your eyes. And I want you to just take a few moments to feel your own body and your heart. And as you feel your hands on your heart, I want you to take 3 deep, long, slow breaths. Remember that the breath connects you directly to your body, to your heart, and to the essence of who you are. It's something you can always go back to. And then when you finished your 3 breaths, you can feel the impression of your hand on your heart, but slowly just remove your hands and just put them on your lap. Now, I wanted to start today with this meditation, which is very simple, because this discussion Emily and I are going to have today about beauty stems from the heart. You need to go back inside you for that compass. We are not talking about superficial beauty today. Now, when we're talking about why a beauty routine is important, which Emily had mentioned, and I wrote an article on Healthline, why your beauty routine matters in quarantine, what I'm actually talking about to set the stage are a few very important things. First, setting a container for your pleasure. Now, I know that that can be a trigger for all of us, okay? For some of us, maybe not, but what I have found is that word pleasure sometimes is associated to things that are Dionysian or harm us or poisonous. But when I'm talking about pleasure, I'm talking about anything that feeds you through your 5 senses. Now, going back to beauty as the container, how we know what gives us pleasure to even create that container before we start feeding our 5 senses, right? We've talked about this, is you have to connect. What do you even want? Who are you? How is it that so many of us on this call have a lot of abundance around us. And perhaps, and it's my number one reason for doing this work, we do not feel our soul hunger is fulfilled. In fact, most of us are starving. So just let that land for a second. Why is that we would have all of these, products, all of these clothes, maybe even a great partner, a great job, all of this abundance, and yet we feel hungry inside? And like Emily and I said, we're going to go deep, and it's raw, but we're good. It's fun too, because you feel good at the end of it, right? So it's like, to discover who you are, we're going to set the stage. You have to connect. And what are you connecting to? You are connecting with your senses to your environment and what you already have. How you do that is with focus. Why we started with our hands on our heart is because we just spent 3 breaths putting our energy on what matters most. And I'm telling all of you that in this crisis, or any crisis, and we're having many mini crises within this pandemic, right? Because it's not easy for any of us. If you continue to connect back into your core and into your heart, you will have a container not only to fill with pleasure, but ultimately of immunity. Because I want to talk about immunity since it's the hottest topic for all of us right now, right?
Right.
Immunity is one thing without getting into all the science. It is determining who you are and who you are not. Who is Emily is very different than who Karuna is and who many of you are on the call. And Emily and I were talking the other day, and I was telling her, like you see, like I have pink lipstick on. It is my anchor. It has nothing to do with an outer thing. It's my little thing that I like. What your anchor is has nothing to do with what anyone else's anchor is, okay? Immunity is exactly that. You were saying, you know what? I am Karuna, or I am Emily, and you are not Karuna, and you are not Emily. You are a virus. You are a bacteria. You see what I mean? When that signal gets mistaken, that's when autoimmune disease happen and we attack ourselves. And a lot of autoimmune disease is on the rise right now. And we want to not do that to ourselves. We want to love ourselves. We want to connect to our pleasure, fill our soul hunger consistently, right? This is not big things. This is not buying a whole makeup kit or finding a new partner or doing all of these crazy things. It's just connecting to the fact that, wow, I get to look at Emily's face right now, and I'm completely present, focusing all of my 5 senses to be here with my awareness right there. Just even saying that, I feel more present and I feel full. Because why, this is the other like core piece that I want to set the foundation with, is the other thing that makes immunity and happiness and ultimately enlightenment is congruence. When what we think and what we feel and what we say are the same. Where we all suffer, okay, and we all know this, right? We're smiling on the outside, we're maybe acting, but inside, if you're dying inside, we've all been there, and we're going to be raw here. We've all been there. I've been there, Emily's been there.
Yes.
That is creating what I call a schiz, right? Like, we say schizoid, it's like creating a split. Today, what we want to discuss is how connecting to beauty, which also can be synonymous. We could clearly even say your love routine, your self-love routine, right? Your pleasure routine helps you be congruent. Because if you connect, then what you actually want and what you actually feel bind, and then that's what you say. I'm not saying, yeah, okay, Emily, I'll go to that soul cycle class with you, and I'm so tired, what I really need to do is go for a walk. You see?
Right.
What do you tell your body? What do you tell your heart? And then what do you do to your immune system?
Right.
Disconnect.
Yeah.
You just want to bring it back, okay? Right to the core.
Right to the heart, right to the core. So, what then comes up, I mean, that connection is just so beautiful and so stunning. And it's something that I personally noticed just being in quarantine, because I was just like, all right, well, then I'm just gonna let my hair go. I'm not gonna do any makeup. I'm gonna wear my sweats every single day, and it's gonna be fine because nobody's seeing me anyway. And then we started doing these lives, and I was like, oh, now I have a reason to put on some makeup. And as I was putting it on, I realized that, first of all, I'm not shy to show up without makeup, because I do all the time. And I realized, oh, so it's not about the others. And why am I feeling all tingly and excited putting on this makeup? And that's when I realized that this is for me. It's not for somebody else. It's for me. And I realized just how important that process was for me to just connect back to myself. And some days that means that I want to be without makeup and I'm not putting hours into a self-care routine because mainly I don't have that time. But sometimes to me, it's just sitting in the sun. And then other days it is putting some sort of treatment in my hair or doing a face mask or giving myself a bath or putting on makeup. But what's coming up, which I think a lot of women feel, and I would say especially mothers, but I would say all women, is the guilt that comes with a question and this inner knowing of, I just want more beauty. I want more connection. I want more. I thought it was going to be more beautiful than this. And immediately when we say that or whisper that to ourselves, there's that feeling of guilt of who am I to ask for more when I have so much? And that's a very personal journey for myself. And what then comes up is I've completely lost a train of thought because I'm like in that feeling now of asking for more and how bad it feels. But like,
No, I love it.
Why do we women feel like we have to deprive ourselves and sacrifice ourselves to be seen as noble, honorable, like we're loving people right? Why are we seeing it that way? And why do we feel guilty when we want to put more time into love and self-care?
Well, you know, it's so ironic what you're saying because you use the word noble and that these words are really big for me. And
Right.
the opposite is called sovereignty. And it's my favorite word, or majesty as women, sovereignty. You see, they're all words of, words that we use in royalty. Who is a queen? What does it mean to be sovereign in yourself? Exuding that. Okay. Now, I was going to speak about this differently, but you just triggered something, completely new direction here, is that if it's about giving, right? And there's a lot of moms on this call, and it doesn't matter if you're a mom or not. Like, I'm a doctor. I feel like I have a million children, right? We all have this over exertion, like doing too much, right? Now, if you want to take it at a devil's advocate angle with that, where are you going to give from if you're an empty vessel? You see, like we could almost flip it and be like, wait, like the more that I am me and the more that I am expressing joy, the more that I'm feeding myself joy, the more that I'm going to be able to give that to my kids, my life, my partner. Right. You see? Yeah. Now, going back to all the external, beauty routines, all of that only has a basis, especially now. We're going to see the truth of who we are unmasked in the mirror in quarantine, because if any of us had that pleasing quality for others, and now we're not going out and about, and now you're not doing it as much, what were you doing it for? Ultimately, it's about self-dignity, self-respect, and self-value, right?
Right.
If, each of us is going to have a different version of what self-care is. Now, self-care should never be forced, and it should not be something that comes from a tolerating perspective. And I'm going to talk about tolerating later. It's a big topic that we need to clear before we can even access beauty, because a lot of us just put up with things and we can't clear our palate, so-called. It's a big word I hear from women,
Yeah.
But going back to, like people letting go of their self-care routines, how to bring that back it's one easy, simple thing. What connects you to joy? It can be for you, that you just put, and I always use the 5 senses. You have to go back to it. The 5 senses are what connect you to the world.
Got it. Right? Yeah.
It can be dabbing a little essential oil. For me, it's like my rose mister, and I'll do some rituals at the end for everybody. It can be for me putting on my pink lipstick. Most days I go without makeup. It doesn't matter what you do on the outside. Everybody write that down. It is what brings you joy. And every single one of us will be different. I've heard from so many women that putting on some mascara makes a difference. Eyeliner, doing their facial routine, not doing anything. It doesn't matter on the outside. It matters only one thing: how it makes you feel on the inside. Right. What brings you joy? If you are feeling guilt for taking care of yourself, that's requiring a whole entire step back about self-love. Then that goes even a little bit to the call we did last time about connecting back to your pillars. And I'll give I'll give you, everybody, a quick suggestion about that. If you're feeling guilty and you don't even know the first step, you want to connect to what I call the pillar of touch. It's one of the 4 pillars, okay? Because touch will immediately put you into your body. Here's the thing, women, our essence and our right is to love. It is to love ourselves. It is not outside of ourselves. It is eternal wisdom, everybody.
You hear that,
everyone?
everyone?
You know, yeah, if you're not feeling it, it's that
Yes.
something, there's a disconnect. It's going to be easy to get it back because it's natural. So if you're feeling that, that means you have been doing too much. You have been doing too much tech. You have been giving to other people too much. You've been watching the crazy news too much. You know,
Right.
if you are in any place that's not New York City right now, and you can go outside or China or all these other countries you may be watching from, please go connect to nature. Be quiet. Right? Focus for 5 minutes. And I teach this, you know, my pleasure course, which I'll talk about in the end. You want to let the beauty in. Back to touch, you know, you can take a feather and stroke your arm for 5 minutes. I have people do that in the course. Or do self-massage. Massage your feet. Don't think about, oh, the guilt, oh, I don't love myself. Let it go. The body will tell you, everybody. The body will bring you back to the body. Don't
That's
even
beautiful.
You know?
And I feel like, I think many women could also relate to that. We feel, you know, if we have that initial feeling of, I feel bad for even asking what brings me joy, right? I just know that there are a lot of mothers and women that feel that way, which is why I want to bring it up. But I love what you said, that you can start so small. Just find one thing that feels good and that brings you joy. And I would assume that the more we practice that, and the more that we dare to ask that question throughout the day, the deeper we sink into ourselves and really find the things that find us joy, that bring us joy.
Right? Yeah, and I like what you're saying, because we have to make it a ritual. And I wrote down to share with everybody that you want to do it first thing in the morning. So, you know, we think, and there, you know, I did a whole video on a morning routine, but we can do a whole morning routine just on beauty, right? Pleasure morning routine. I wake up and I connect to 3 things that are going to bring me joy and pleasure immediately in the day. You can do it even at what's in the environment. It's the joy moments, okay? And that is going to set the tone for your day. Because remember, we talked about, Emily, last time, what you do in the morning sets the tone for the day. If you reorient your compass, right? So there's 3 words that I want everyone to remember, the C words: container, connect, and compass, okay? If you create a beauty container and then keep connecting to things that bring you beauty, which then fill your container through your compass, you're going to glow. You are going to be that one that's radiant, that turns heads. And you know what? You are going to have a strong immune system. You are not going to let things enter you, because you know why? You are going to know who you are and who's not you. And if I go shopping with you, Emily, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that looks so great, or, you know, I get this great dress, but it just doesn't fit your light skin, you are not going to be lured to buy it because Karuna did, you know, peer pressure. You get it? You're going to be like, you know what, that, I love that, that looks great on you, and I really need a dress, but we didn't find anything today, and I'm just going to have to wait, or too bad, I'm going to wear a pantsuit. I don't care that that was the dress code. I can't wear a dress. You have to be brave enough after you know who you are to live it. And this doesn't mean the same for everybody. We all have 1 million different lives on this call. Right. It's just in your small way so that you don't starve. You know, in my practice, and I think I mentioned this last time, why I teach about pleasure and beauty, why my whole life's work is about this. It's not as people think, as we're hearing on this call. It has nothing to do with the surface. It's that so many women had oxytocin low in their labs. That is the pleasure hormone. All the pregnant women know, you know. But we have it all the time. And even though they had so much abundance around them, no pleasure. And when I talked to them, every single one of them told me the stories. Sex wasn't pleasurable. They were faking their orgasms. They weren't connecting to partners. They were tired. Can we just talk about that? If you are not getting rest, you are going to feel horrible. None of this is going to matter. No pink lipstick's going to fit that. You know, it's not at the outer. When we talk about beauty, it's about giving yourself what you need once you know what you need. You have to listen closer to what those needs are, right? So it's like when those oxytocin was so low for all of these women, year after year after year, I thought something is wrong. And I realized that the base of our health, and it's a big statement, I've been practicing for 20 years, is pleasure. You learn how to feel it, and you learn how to connect to what your needs are through your 5 senses. Everything changes, game changes, you know. And I want to go back to something I mentioned a few minutes ago, is that this isn't hokey pokey, right? There's nothing about putting on makeup on your acne skin and crying inside that you have acne. right? You got to look at your digestion. What's bothering you? Are you constipated? You know, is there something that's ailing you because, you know, and you're binge eating at night? Like, we got to uncover this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
That goes back to this key word that I realized of why we don't have pleasure, why we have guilt. Tolerating. Tolerating is very different than accepting. And as women, we tolerate too much.
Yes.
Like, let that land, you know, it's too much. And we all, this too much, these two words, every single person that I have talked to in the last 7 weeks, and I'm losing count now of quarantine. I'm in California right now, just got extended through May. We're going to be in it for a while, right?
Yeah.
This is going to be going on.
Yeah.
Everyone at one point, even the people, you know, I know some strong women, doesn't matter. They're almost, it's worse almost, right? To be too strong. Everyone has said, you know, it's too much. It's too much. This news, what's happening in New York, so-and-so's died, you know, the situation. Doesn't even have to be about the virus. We all have our opinions about that. It's the restrictions. It's what's happening in our government. It's what's happening with what we have to deal with in our family, the drastic change, the fear of having no ground. But what I'm teaching you here, which is pivotal, it's like my heart's work, is that we have a ground. Let the structures crumble. We've never had control over that anyway, Emily.
That's true.
All we have is this. And what connects us to the world is always the five senses. That is the spiritual truth. We go higher up and we come out. What are we choosing to listen to? What are we smelling? What's touching your skin? You know, what are you tasting? We have control over that. If you're going to feed yourself 75 Netflix movies and the news constantly, who are you going to be? You are what you imprint yourself with. You are what you eat. Eat beauty. Period. That's what we mean.
I love when you say eating beauty with the five senses. I love that.
Yeah.
You hear that?
Yeah.
Eat beauty with the five senses.
Yeah, because I say they have mouths. That's, you know, I teach that.
No, I see it. I see that. That's a visual I see. It's just like this.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
So
you know, how different is it to like listen to, you know, Chopin or Sade versus the president talking all the time? Sorry if some of you know what I'm saying? Or all of our breaking news updates. Yeah. How is it to gaze at a rose or, you know, self-massage? And you know, when you do these things, let this land. When you're doing the five senses exercise, you're focusing on one. The virus doesn't exist. Nothing exists. That's in your mind. If you're not sick right now, let's not feed ourselves fear. Feed yourself pleasure. You know, it will heal you. That is why we feel guilt, because if you fed yourself what you needed, and I'm not saying externally, I'm talking for this internal way, it will inform itself. It is a wisdom. It is the only ground we have. If we're on quarantine the rest of the year, if all our lives change, we're all in one building, you know, God knows what's going to unfold, where are we going to go? And when we're feeling uncomfortable and that it's too much and all these things are coming up, it's because our spiritual practices are coming to test right now, all of us. Where do we go?
Right.
So for me, going full circle to when you were saying, you know, this is not just about a beauty routine about what you put on your face, but it's also that, right? It's about, okay, now what? I'm alone, I'm quarantined alone, or I have 3 kids, and am I going to just let myself go? Why was I ever wearing makeup? Why was I ever doing face serum? Why was I ever doing mascara or doing my hair? Now it becomes a whole higher game. Now it's, do I really want to straighten my hair? Why am I doing it? Does it feel good? It's you in the mirror, everybody. It's you and the mirror. The big mirror.
Yeah, the big mirror. Exactly. I love that. You know, ever since, because I think we spoke maybe 2 days ago to prepare for this live. And since then, it hasn't been very long, but since then, I've just been asking myself, what do I want to wear today? Do I want to put something in my face today or not? What is my evening routine tonight? What do I need right now? What do I want? Instead of just going on autopilot and just doing the same over and over and actually just checking in. And, you know, this brings up something that I find a little interesting, and that we also talked about in our phone call, is that we are so just wired and trained to look for approval elsewhere or find the answers outside of ourselves. And I know many of us women who are with men who say that they love a natural woman, that they love a woman without makeup, who doesn't put anything on. My husband tells me all the time that he just loves when I don't wear makeup. He loves the way that I look just as myself, naturally. And I have actually many friends that when they do put on that red lipstick, their man says, no, why did you do that? Like, I love you natural, just the way you are. And I think these men think that they are doing a great thing by being men who love a natural woman, right? But what they don't realize is that they just took something from us. And I think as women, we feel like, oh, whatever they like, that's what I should do. Or whatever the people, whoever they are out there think of me or how they want me to show up, that is how I will show up. So I love this idea of rethinking even just what makeup is. Is it for them or is it for me? Am I going to put that red lipstick on no matter what anybody else thinks about it? How would you say that we can find our strength in that and put on whatever it is that we want to put on, not as a cover, but to reveal ourselves?
Well, you just said it, right? So the whole point of this, you know, beauty is essential medicine is knowing who you are and feeding yourself what you need, period. This is an opportunity. It's like boot camp. This quarantine is like boot camp because we're forced to see the reality of our situations. You know, we don't have like external help. We're all, you know, and can't go anywhere external. So we have to go inside. If we take the opportunity to not buffer, we get to actually look at if we like the things we thought we liked. So when you come back on the other side, you know, we're just like, wow, I was always dressing up because I had to for work or these social events or because it was required when I went to dinner and this, and, you know, we have status and all of these things. But, you know, who are we when it's just the mirror? Like I said, and I don't mean just the literal mirror. I mean the figurative mirror, right? Mm-hmm. Now, again, Emily, what you were talking about in that pause when you realize perhaps you were putting on the red lipstick to please someone else, or was I just being natural? Let's go polar, right? Because my partner wanted it, right?
Right.
It's like you have to look at why is there that pleasing outside? Because this whole thing about the beauty routine, I'm talking about, it's one thing. Do it if it brings you joy. It's only doing things that bring you joy. This is your palette. You know, it's like, what are you going to do? It's your fresh palette. Sometimes we put one stroke. Sometimes we stare at the blank canvas. It's always up to what you want. It's sovereignty, right? And it's very interesting going back to the full statement that you made at the beginning about guilt, right? And that's connected to men and this whole thing. And you and I talked a few days ago about, you know, men, you know, I even shared men that have said to me multiple times, you know, you don't need to wear that lipstick for me, or it's fine if you don't wear makeup. I like you just that way. But I never asked for the opinion. You and I were talking about
that's
that.
The thing, right?
Yeah, I said, but I'm not doing this for you. And so that assumption, which just is a collective, I think, problem that's going on in society, you know, with women, you know, and I can't believe it. We're having a talk about patriarchy, but it's very, very relevant right now that, you know, also speaking to all the men, we need to train all the men that we are doing this as a form of, it's a play as well. It is a form of beautifying ourselves to bring out actually the five senses. It's to bring ourselves out because it gives us pleasure. It's not to please other people. Even though originally, you know, high heels were created, you know, by a man for like, so the woman could strut, and they say that rouge and red lipstick, it puts you into that ecstatic, like it gives you that ecstatic look, like when you're having an orgasm. A lot of this stuff, it was like I know.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Created by men?
Yeah, I know. So there's a lot of, you know, stigma and everything around that, but we're not in 1920. It is 2020, and we have a chance to turn it, you know, and to, you know, when you feel that, A, first you change it inside yourself. B, let's start speaking up. And I always speak up. I say, I'm not doing it for you. I enjoy this. And here's the thing, more often than not for me, I'm like you, it's the opposite. And like, I want to wear my hair in a bun. I want to wear my yoga clothes. Like, I like it and I feel good. And it's not just about feeling good. And there's a really important point that I wanted to share is what makes you glow. You will see, you will feel in your body and there will be a radiance. If you're uncomfortable, you're like, the dress is too tight. I didn't want to put my hair back. I feel this pimple, whatever. You're going to feel contracted.
Right.
So it's like another big takeaway is you want to do things that make you feel expansive and free, like when you're on your best vacation or your best sexual experience or your most joyful accomplishment. Tune into that. And if you feel the opposite when you're putting on makeup or you're doing anything, that it's not self-love or a beauty routine of self-care, it's actual force. Remember, power, not force. Is it bringing you power? Are you feeling empowered, especially now in quarantine? Are your actions empowering, or do you feel forced to have momentum, to do something for other people, to force ahead, to create a new something. Like really look at those two words, you know, because
Right.
remember, beauty is not, has nothing to do with even lipstick or all of these things. Beauty is eternal. In times of crisis and all of history, it is beauty that we all go to. We're looking as an imprint because why? It is who we are. That's why we look at art. That's why makeup sales go up throughout all of history in times of crisis. You know,
Interesting.
all comfort. We go for comfort because it's eternal. Things are already hard enough. You know, beauty doesn't even mean just what we adorn ourselves with on the outside. It's what you're adorning yourself with on the inside. It includes your thoughts. It includes what you read. It includes who you let into your life and who you don't. It actually starts there. And that's something else, you know, I teach in my course. You can't get to this point we're talking about if you don't know how to connect and then know what you actually need and want for pleasure, you and I talked about before. And then you need to take away what's not working. It starts with taking away the leaks. You know, you have to do that. Then once you know, like, wow, you know, and I just had this huge experience personally in the last week. There was something that was really draining me, right? It's always about what's draining or nourishing you. And all of you, you know, watching this live, like make a list and compare and start taking away the things that are draining you, and your flood of energy will come back and you won't feel guilty. You'll be able to connect to the beauty in you. And here's the thing, since it's not on the outside, once you're living from this place, it'll inform itself. You'll know when to say no to the right things and yes to the right things. It's a real thing. I felt it, like everything changes. And then you're in front of the mirror doing your routines and you feel like, oh my gosh, I really love myself. I want to spend more time doing this. And it becomes playful and fun. And this is something you can do with your kids, boys and girls, you know, include them in this, make it fun. They love dress up. They inform us of beauty. They're so essentially beautiful. They don't have these layers.
Right.
You know?
You know, I'm so happy you brought up the kids, because that's something that I know as a mom that I've struggled with. My daughter, she loves to put on lipstick.
Yeah.
She loves it. So we made Saturday her lipstick day, and she'll just keep reapplying all through the day, and she feels fabulous. And whenever I put on makeup, sometimes she comes into my bathroom and she looks at me, she just watches the whole process. And then at the end of it, she says, Mama, you are so beautiful. And then when she puts on her own lipstick, she says, Mama, am I beautiful? And there's like this thing in my stomach where I just go, oh my God, I just want to tell her all the things that you are beautiful without that. You are beautiful no matter with makeup or without makeup. It's just like all that mama anxiety that comes up. What am I teaching my daughter? But if I just slow my chatter down and I watch her, she's not saying that without the lipstick, she doesn't feel beautiful, but she just added something that makes her feel extra fabulous. And she asks me, Mama, am I beautiful? And it's only joyful. And when she looks at me and tells me that I'm beautiful, I see joy. I don't see any pain in her around that. And I also realize that they see me take care of myself. She also sees me do that. We will probably talk about it, the gua sha, and she sees me do this thing, just taking care of myself. And I'm realizing now that we're talking that she's also seeing that. She's seeing me just taking care of myself and the fact that I enjoy it. And I think that's one of the greatest things that we can show our kids, daughters and sons, what that looks like. And to not be so afraid that we're teaching them that, you know, again, that it is some sort of a cover up of what's really there. It's really us revealing ourselves and enjoying what we enjoy.
And it's the process, you know, your daughter saw the process. So it wasn't just about the lipstick. It was that she did something that was like fun and playful, and she put this on and she's like, Mommy, am I not beautiful? Like, it's the whole thing. Yeah. You know? And remember, at the base, it's only one thing. It has to bring you alive. Just do what brings you alive. Right. You know? Yeah. And it changes in every moment. No force. There's no force. You know? Because here's the thing, when you get used to this process, there will be days you're so connected, and this happens to me, where I'll literally be mid-routine, you know, and I'll be putting on makeup and say, I just can't do this. Or I can't wear bright lips. I mean, I went a year and I couldn't wear bright lips. It just wasn't me. And other times it's like pink and red and, you know, dark, you know, it's just, I can't explain it. It's not from the outside. Because no one's dictating, you know, unless I'm getting makeup done for a shoot that has to be, you know, done for camera. But even then, you have a right still to say something, you know. And even then, think about that. You know, let's go there for a second. you know, because we've both been on TV, that when they're doing, you know, when they're doing your wardrobe or they're doing your makeup, why are they doing it the way they are? To bring you out. They're bringing your cheekbones out. They're bringing, you know, they're like, no white, no black, wear red, this is for your complexion. It's what I'm saying in a different way.
Right.
Do what brings you out. They're always about that. You see?
And what makes you glow.
Yeah.
Right.
What makes you glow is like the number one thing. And again, it's not about, there's nothing cliche about what we're saying right now, because people may not even know what glow is. Take it back down to the earth, you know, back to those rituals we're talking about.
That.
Massage your feet at night, massage your body with oil, give your cuticles a rub. Don't think it is going to be natural. Just do it, you know, and it's simple. And then from that place of gravitas and dignity, just see what you feel. And it might be nothing. It might be to just lay on the floor or on the grass, and that's still beauty. It's not about makeup. It's also about makeup. It's not just about makeup.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
A lot of women, but you know, and going back to the beginning of letting our routines go or not in quarantine, having some type of ritual around beauty that you create and you want is essential, but not because you used to do it prior to this time. It should always be that what you are doing is matching the situation for which you were doing it. You see what I mean? So it wouldn't make sense. This is our time to look at, and I wish that the world would wake up to this, like, follow your senses, literally and figuratively. People are doing a lot of stupid things right now in society, and I'm thinking, you know, use your own senses. You know, like, you know, and it's not fun to see what's happening. People are losing their mind. It's like, we're not in a dictatorship here. Really, in this, what I'm teaching here is way beyond lipstick. It's like, because when you're connected, you know, and Emily, you might call me and say, do you just hear the news? That doesn't feel right. Is that really what's happening, Dr. Karuna, with the virus? And I'll say no, because it will feel wrong to you in your blood and your bones, because you are connected. And you'll say, you know what? It's incongruent. You taught me to be congruent, and I feel sick to my stomach. Because we tuned in. You're self-nourishing. What else do we have? We only have this.
Right.
That is your compass, right? What did I say? Container, connect, compass. And then you'll say, you know what? Husband, kids, we need to leave, you know, my house or something. You know, I want to go live in the country, or it's time to go back to New York, whatever, because it will tell you. You will not just listen to these signals outside of yourself. You get that?
Yeah.
You know?
You'll actually hear what's inside.
Yeah, that is the core. That is the key.
That's so amazing.
You know?
So I want to get to some questions that we got from our followers. Unless you have, I mean, we can go wherever you want to go. But there's somebody that asked, what are some beauty practices I can incorporate that are not expensive or can be done at home, do it yourself? And there are actually a few questions like that, like your top 3 tools for beauty. Is that hydration, sleep, meditation, skincare? Let's just touch on that real quick. If this is new to somebody, right? And they're a little bit awkward and uncomfortable in this space of, oh, what do I like? And where do I even start? But what are some simple, sweet things that we can do to even just begin practicing self-care that we can do at home with the things?
I have like a list here. So the self-massage is definitely one I recommend. You can even start with a lotion at home if you have essential oils you like. Start with massaging your feet before bed. It will take you out of your head. It helps your sleep, and it grounds you, and we all need that. Okay, that's easy. I use rose water mister. You can get it on Amazon, like the hydrosol, but you can use any essential oil and keep a mist around you, you know, at your home, in your purse, and just mist it. And that also, it's water as nourishment and essential oil. That's very, very simple. Since a lot of us are at home, it's a good idea to use this as a time to nourish. So I've been doing, like, I have, you know, obviously we're all doing our own nails however best we can, but, you know, I've been putting olive oil on my cuticles. And you can also do really deep nourishing hair masks using olive oil, coconut oil, almond oil. Don't get on the scalp just here. And because you're at home, if you're not going out, or who cares? If you're going out, go out with the who cares right now. Like, you know, I thought, where are we going? No one's going anywhere. It's like, really soak that oil in. Do a braid. You know, it's all, oil is the most nourishing. But remember, it's not just the outer, it's on the inner. So take care of your digestion. Make sure you're drinking a lot of water. Don't have fried foods. Don't have too much sugar. Yeah, you know, you and me both right here. It's like, you want to make sure that, you know, beauty is from the inside. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Under eyes, it's the same thing. You can add extra oil, extra cream. Like this is the time to do extra nourishment because we don't have to be out and about, right? I have here two of my, for requests, my two rituals that I love, which is gua sha and the Jade Roller. So I'll start with the Jade Roller. I keep this in the refrigerator. That's the secret. Everyone, please get back to us after you do this with all of your exhales of pleasure. And what you do is, you keep it in the refrigerator every morning. And you can do this a few times a day as we're getting into summer. What you do is the ice cold Jade Roller. You just do. I know, right? It's so pleasurable. I can't even tell you.
I did that when I was pregnant, and
right?
It was just the best.
Ice cold. If you're getting headaches or if you just, love it, you can also just put it on your head like this. Okay. And I'm not doing this for wrinkles because I'm going to show you gua sha next. Okay. So this is just for the puffiness and to just bring you back into pleasure. And it's so relaxing and cooling. My favorite morning ritual that I did in my morning routine video too, and I do this every day, is gua sha. Now, what you want to do is after you apply your favorite face serum, get like your favorite face oil. And this is a larger conversation. If anyone here has acne or other skin issues, we can talk on the side. Just don't apply some random oils. But if you know that you like an oil or lotion, you definitely don't want to pull on dry skin. Okay. Now, the reason we're using gua sha is we want to help minimize wrinkles, and wrinkles are always downward sagging and we want to go upwards. Okay. So that's the motion. Also, this is good for the immune system because we're moving lymph. There's a lot of lymph in that. And also puffiness, which a lot of women complain about, which also can be too much salt, thyroid issues, and eating the wrong foods. So what you want to do is this curvy side here, you want to go in an upward motion. And I do 3 times, just to make it easy. I like consistency like this.
And how much pressure do you put on it?
I put a lot of pressure.
Remember, okay.
There's going to be oil, so it's going to glide. And I made sure to put extra moisturizer for this video so I could do this, okay?
Cool.
Same thing on this side. Then you're going to do the same thing on your forehead. 3 times in this direction, 3 times in that direction. This is a special portion for the jaw, okay? Fit it in here. I can't even tell you how good it is. Times. 3 times, okay? Then your neck. You can go in either direction. I like to go up on the sides for the lymph nodes here. Actually, I go up all. It just depends how much you're worried about, wrinkles. For lymph, I sometimes scrape here. It's nice. Really sore here, and it feels really good. And I do this every morning, ladies, every single morning. I was telling them on the call, we were planning for this, that mine broke in a hotel. I had it overnighted to me, a new one.
Amazing.
That's important.
So that's gua sha. It's
Guasha.
Guasha. If you guys want to Google it and find your own, it feels so good.
Yeah.
And that was jade, I think, but they also come in rose quartz.
It comes in rose quartz. They have different healing properties. They're both cooling. And they're both good for the heart, you see, so that's interesting.
Oh, yeah.
And rose quartz, if you're going through something really emotional right now and you need a little bit more heart tenderness, maybe like 90% of us on the call, then you might want to choose rose quartz. But if you aren't worried about things financially, they're not that expensive, get both. Feel it out. It's such this is the other thing I want to tell all of you. It's so important to invest in your pleasure. Like it goes a long way. And that's a key thing in these times. If you can't do other things and you're cutting out things, make sure pleasure doesn't go. These are small joys. This is not $1,000. It's like $20. And these little things or whatever your things are, like rose mist. I have beeswax candles. I have my rose face cream. The joy is so high in this kind of time and crisis that it gives me. I'm not going to skimp on that. Yeah, most of us are not buying, new clothes or jewelry and all of that. That may not be necessary, but to keep you intact and glowing and happy, that's immunity. If we all start getting depressed and there is despair in the air, we're going to be more susceptible.
Right.
Okay. We don't want to be penetrated. That is my core, mission and the core thing I'm teaching here. It's not just about this, but let me tell you how much happier I get. And then my container gets stronger.
Right.
The virus is not going to, it's not going to come in because I'm Karuna. The virus is not Karuna. Right?
Yeah.
Were there any other questions? I wanted to talk about my...
Yeah, there's one here. It's a very good question, actually. Miraela, she said, what resources can we use to better understand the beauty products we use and the ingredients in them?
There is a site, and I don't know it by heart, but you can Google, it's a major encyclopedia site that is for non-toxic beauty products. And it will go through every ingredient. Yeah, and I have it written down somewhere. And
we can share it on Amash
yeah.
somehow. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's another thing. Like anytime I'm talking about beauty or products, I go, it's 100% natural, no chemicals.
Of course.
Yeah. It's very important because your skin is your largest organ and it is eating everything. So you want to make sure that you are eating beauty, the right things.
Right.
You know?
And I love how you say that it's, you know, it's, because I think you're so right. Pleasure is usually the first thing to go. And to remember when times are crazy like this, that pleasure is so important. I recently had a session with somebody and we were talking about fear. And she said the thing that helps fear go away, that kind of conquers fear the most, is joy.
Yeah.
So find your joy, find your glow. And it can be as small as a scented candle. I have one burning here next to me right now. Nobody can see it, but I can smell it as we're talking. And I have fire next to me, and it just feels good. I have something that's alive and smells really good next to me. And you mentioned music, and it may seem like very small things or the tools that we're using, but they do so much to create that container that you speak about so much. And then we are ready to show up as ourselves, fully ready to face it all.
And pleasure is the #1 detoxifier, pleasure and joy for women.
Really?
100%. This is the problem. This is why, you know, and I wanted to, you know, share with everyone, and Emily can share it, you know, more in detail later, that I launched this course last year and did events all over the world on this topic of the 5 sense experience. And my course is about this, the Real Detox and the Pleasure RX, which the first date is going to be in mid-May to start for this year. It wasn't going to be until fall, but it's so essential, you know, at this time. And it's women only. And it's this exact process, learning your instincts. What do you actually love? What don't you love? And filling your leaks, right? Relationships, people, money, all of that. How are you leaking from your container? You know, so it's like beyond food, purging all that is toxic to you and going through that process. Then when the container is open, we go through step by step with the 5 senses, what aesthetic awareness is and how to fill yourself with pleasure, doing these exercises properly. Then we go deeply into nourishment, which we haven't gone that much into in this call, but recognizing what actual nourishment is and how to find it in your environment. And I mean, it's an amazing course. So I'd love for many people to be a part of it. And
Dr. Karuna, you are amazing. What a gem you are. Thank you so much for your time and for sharing your wisdom. I feel beyond inspired, and I want to join your course, and I hope all of you guys join with me. And we hope to have you back because there are just so many things we have to do.
Yeah, for sure. I have so many notes.